Hello ladies, welcome once again to yet another episode of She Leads Business. I have with me Vishwapriya Kochar, founder of Blue Minds, Sangeeta Khushlani, CEO and founder of Excellent Technology and Solutions Private Limited, and Rita Shah, Director Crest Education, Director Shimaru Entertainment, having her own setup, and she also happens to be a women empowerment coach, created some awesome programs like Super Women Unleashed. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Today's topic is how to keep team motivated. Very important and relevant factor. Though we can have debates and too many discussions on this and yet not come to a conclusion, be rest assured we are going to give you awesome tips and come to a great conclusion when it comes to motivation. Beginning with you, Vishwapriya. You consult a lot of companies and you have seen more workplaces than any of us on this show. What in your view is the reason the motivation level of employees drops? So what I'm saying here is when you join a company, you realize the team or the new incumbents are very much motivated. They do things and they want to learn. After a while, say an year or more, this motivation to perform, to learn new things starts dropping. What are some of the reasons that happens?
It's a great question, Sarita. This is something that I have been doing a lot of research on myself, being the HR person. On a lighter note, before I start dumbing this down, I think as human beings, we are great wooers. We woo very well, but we are not keepers. This is where I think the gap arises today. When we are wooing, say a candidate to become an employee, the larger employee experience, wow, this is what happens, this will be your role, we'll give you the corner office, you'll get this specific laptop, this iPad. I think there is a lot of gibberish around the externality. But when the, what do they say, rubber meets the road, right? Yeah. So when you actually get to reality, I think then people realize there is a huge gap. It is a combination of maybe very many things. One, from an organization point of view. Second, from an individual point of view. Somewhere, unfortunately, today also individuals have become the instant gratification sort of people. You want to see the racy, quick progression, you want promotions very quickly. That is also a reason. Second, organizations also, so this is like a marriage from both ends. Organizations also don't probably have the right pulse of an individual. So there is a straight-jacketed, flat, straight approach. What works for Rita does not work for Sangeeta, and ditto for Sarita, and something else for Priya. I come from the world of psychometrics, neurosciences, behavioral sciences, and it surprises me how they can shove everyone into something called a bell curve, which is a performance management process of normalization. Yeah. I mean, and it is funny that I'm saying this as an HR person because I've lived on it my entire career. But I think the error really is in not figuring out that different strokes work for different folks. Maybe for me learning is important, but I joined the organization thinking I'll get a lot of learning, but what I got is truckloads of money, but it's not keeping me satisfied. But the organization is misunderstanding this, that Priya wanted a great career, for her career is equivalent to money. So I think it is bridging that gap. My request is from both ends, please keep the romance alive. Don't just leave it with the wooing. Let it turn into a sustained marriage. It has to be a combination of both. Individuals also, and I see this amidst the millennials and the zillennials today, there is a sense of lack of gratitude which is rampant. Please join organizations which give you a high. Please do those roles where you feel you have the freedom, you're not fettered, rather than staying in the system, not ejecting and leading to negativity. I think that energy is not what you want, nor colleagues want, nor the organization wants. So it really has to be a combination of both the elements. The individual going the extra mile, the organization continuing to keep the wooing romance alive. I think that's how it has to work.
Yeah, so I think what I'm understanding is, in your view, the initial period, when we get people, we are impressing them as a company, and when they come, they're also impressing on us as candidates, the perfect and the best candidates, and somewhere because during that period they also perform best, we also give our best to them, and after a while that phase is over.
Absolutely.
And then the reality check, and then you are on ground and they realize there are issues, you also realize the issues with them. I think that's a very relevant reason, and I think it's a different perspective. Thank you, Vishwapriya, for mentioning that. Rita, you work with women entrepreneurs and a lot of women. Now, in your view, how important it is as an entrepreneur to stay motivated in order to motivate your employees?
So yeah, Sarita, really very important for an entrepreneur to be motivated, to motivate her team. Very good question actually, because most of the people think that, motivating employees is very important. But nobody really thinks about how do entrepreneurs motivate themselves. And they have more bigger issues in life. Sometimes business is not working, sometimes staff has gone, sometimes resources are not adequate, sometimes the customers have some issues. Now juggling in all the areas of life, and most of the times, most entrepreneurs are doing a lot of work themselves, though they may have team. One of the most critical aspect, that is delegation, is not fully done. Like especially startups, they are more independent. I mean, a lady entrepreneur who's beginning, she feels, and a lot of us, even in our personal life, we feel, I can do it better, therefore I do it. So there is a lot of pressure, there's a lot of stress, and with that stress, with that pressure, the energy level goes down. Now, one of the things that I strongly believe in life is anything you do is the way everything you do, and energy is most critical for doing something great. So the higher the energy, higher the results, and higher the outcomes. Therefore, as an entrepreneur, to be highly motivated, maybe having a great platform like She Leads Business, maybe having great circle of excellence like you, Sangeeta, Vishwapriya, kind of people. So if you are amongst your circle of excellence, which is motivating you, which is giving you new ideas, which is helping you to think bigger than what you think. And once you are motivated, you will do lots for people around you.
Very, very nice, Rita. I think you agree that it is very much important to stay motivated as entrepreneurs, and you have to make your own strategy to stay motivated, because if you're not motivated, you can't motivate your team. Like it will be just a routine exercise where they'll also understand that your energy levels are not matching the demands that you have from them. Excellently mentioned, Rita. Sangeeta, as a businesswoman, how do you keep your employees motivated?
I treat my employees as my family members. I keep them close to the organization, and with the result of this is they become more responsible and they're more productive. Everybody loves to be praised. Everybody loves. You have to find the time and occasion to appreciate them in front of the whole team. You have to try and find out those moments when you feel they have done something little exceptionally good. So you should at least mention. You should always mention and motivate them, and this keeps them very close to the organization. Whenever there is a project, you are always, as she said, we have to delegate the task. When we are delegating something to some team member, we have to ensure and show that trust in him, that you are so sure that you are delegating this task to XYZ employee and he is going to do his best. And when you show this trust to him, I am sure the other person who is doing the job takes, he can feel that, he can connect with you, and he feels so responsible that ma'am has delegated this task to me and she's so sure about my performance and I have to prove myself. We all are trying to prove ourselves best in whatever the industry we are, and these are small little things which are not exceptionally good, but we can always motivate them by providing some sort of trainings. Nowadays it's becoming at a very reasonable cost. If I talk about, webinars are happening so frequently. You don't need to send your employees to some XYZ places, but while sitting in the organization, you assign a webinar to somebody that for this 30 minutes you're not going out, you are just attending this webinar today, which is not a big cost, but yes, it will inculcate some better understanding of product or knowledge by that particular employee. That's what I feel.
Fantastic. I think not just one, Sangeeta has mentioned quite a few things that you can do in your organization. One being recognition, and I mean in the formal education also, when it comes to motivation, it is taught when it comes to organization culture and how to keep people motivated. Recognition means praising them on smaller things. It's not about big things, it's about daily. And this is one thing I feel I also tell all women I come in touch with, not just people, you have to also appreciate yourself to appreciate others. And because we do not take pause and appreciate what we do, same we do for others. So if you want to inculcate that, start praising yourself also on daily basis. You'll see that the giving compliments and praising someone will start coming to you naturally then. And so one being recognition, other being creating a culture where they feel that it is my family, it's my second home. And believe me, they are going to put in half of their day beyond sleeping. It's like most productive time is spent in workplace. So if you give them a culture of a homely feeling or a family kind of feeling, they will be attached to the organization more. And I have seen people who do not move jobs just because they get a very, very good care in their own organization. So after that, it's not about money. After a point, it's not about being financially secure, and celebrating them, giving them training also is what Sangeeta suggested. Have regular trainings to keep them motivated, to keep them abreast with the current things which are going on, so that they feel that my organization takes care of even my knowledge level and my skills. So very, very good points, Sangeeta. Please.
Sarita, to add to your point and Sangeeta's point, I have something to share. Can I share here?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there is one word that I have coined. I call it as MOJ, M-O-J, that is moments of joy. And I share with my women entrepreneurs that, how can you create these teeny moments of joy around you for yourself and for people who are there working with you. So in one of the organization I worked with, we had this kind of conversations with the entire team, and we said, how many moments of joy are we going to create? And what happened is it created a kind of healthy environment, and people were creating moments of joy.
Wow.
The surprises, I mean, this was a surprise element. It's not just recognition. It's like, leaving a small chit and saying, hey, I noticed you wore a very nice earring today, or your presentation, that particular slide was very good. I would like to offer you a cup of coffee. And not only at workplace, I suggest and recommend to extend that at home front. Like, to give an instance, sometimes when I'm sending the tiffin box for my younger one, in his tiffin box, I would put a small chit saying, enjoy your bhaji, it's your favorite bhaji, have a great day, hope you're doing fine at school. Now, I don't do that every day, but sometimes once in a while, or sending a message to my husband saying, I love you, or to a friend whom I have not spoken for a very long time, and suddenly sending a heart or some flowers or something on a WhatsApp message and saying, hey, I've been thinking about you, but we have not caught up, for very long. So it's like, create small moments of joy in their lives. Like, hey, she thought about me. I like that, and surprise is something that we all love.
Very nice.
So have much and
yeah. Fantastic point, Rita. And if you're watching this, I think adopt this. Create moments of joy. I think it's about appreciating others, and it's about celebrating each moment as it comes, rather than making life too heavy. And you want to add something?
Yeah,
yes.
Thank you. There's a saying which says that I will forget what you said, but I will never forget how you made me feel. There is a psychology theory which is called the Maslow's hierarchy. It talks of physical needs first, and then the psychological needs, and then your self-actualization needs. I think what Rita said is so amazingly implementable, and it's so beautiful. If only we can start treating all our staff and the people that we bump into every other day as real human beings first. understand, which level are they at, can you make them feel special and nice. You don't have to be inauthentic about it. You don't have to say something to them just to make them feel, you don't need to have a hidden agenda. But if you can genuinely, authentically treat them as real human beings, trust me, that heart connect, even if they were to leave you today because of some circumstance, they will bring 10 work references to you. They'll send 10 more good people to your organization. And at some point of time, they will come back to work for you. I think it is that cycle. I call this the cycle of viciousness to the cycle of virtuousness. We all have that responsibility as entrepreneurs, if not as anyone else, because we are in control, or at least we think we are in control of our life, to move this needle from that vicious cycle to that virtuous cycle. So I think it's just about how we make others feel. How do I feel in your presence, and how do you feel in my presence?
Very nice, beautifully said, Vishwapriya. I think you forget the moments, you don't forget the feelings attached to them. And Vishwapriya, Sangeeta somewhere mentioned about training, and in all across world, organizations spend a lot of money in motivation training. Even startups try to either do it themselves or have a trainer do these periodic trainings where you have session for motivating employees. However, in my experience, people often say that this motivation training that you do, say once in a quarter even, that like for few days it remains with you, you feel inspired and you feel you can conquer the world and do everything that your role, wants you to
be. Yeah.
However, after a while that starts going down. Now, how does one tackle that from the organization perspective? Because you spend money on training and all that.
It's a great question, Sarita. I think it's a difold approach again. I completely agree, and research backs this. What you do for a day or two is not sustainable. It is only a feel-good factor, and it does not have lasting effects. I think from an organization point of view, if you see coaching, transformation has become big today across the globe because people believe this requires sustained efforts. Second, I think what organizations are really concentrating on is skill building. And I've always had a very strong opinion about this. I think we're doing the wrong thing there. If we can concentrate on attitude building, then the individual's locus of control moves from outside to inside. In fact, I think all my hiring, if I look back now, my career probably could have been a little challenged because you're bound by circumstances. But as an entrepreneur, I typically hire only for attitude. Because that motivation, that drive, you will go through all kinds of circumstances in life. Organization might go in the red one day, but your founders trust you. You choose whether you have to stay put or eject and find the next easy option and bail off on a cruise. So I think it's about that internal, that drive, that locus of control, that motivation. It has to come from within. So maybe attitude skilling rather than skill training, attitude training, attitude coaching. Also, I think it's a combination of picking the right people, which comes back to what we were talking about earlier. What kind of people do you pick to be a part of, your journey? I think we got to pay a lot more attention to that. But very clearly, it is not sustainable if you're just doing a 2-3 day feel-good piece. It has to be a process where the organization gives them a career progression. Something that strikes me is in my initial years of my career, I worked for a technology company which started an amazing, I think it was a career growth chart. 0 to 6 years, consultant to project manager. So they had mapped out the entire career trajectory for this individual who comes from small towns in India but has the lovely rose tinted glasses to want to make it big. I come from a lower middle class family myself, and thanks to my parents, and the universe, I think I'm here because I stood on my own feet. So that fire that comes from within cannot be replaced if you are endowed or entitled. Very bohemian, provocative statement, but that's the reality of the world today. So I think pick those kind of people and give them a sustainable growth journey. Coach them for every stage. Don't train them on skills, on functional areas, technical areas. Try and help hone their attitude so that they can wade through any difficulty, any adversity, any circumstance. I remember I was so enamored by my friend's father when I was way back in college. he must have been about 50, 55 then, which is 20 years ago. I saw him, us zamane mein, which is like a big thing, picking a COBOL, a programming tool, and he was learning at that age by himself. I think that hunger, to want to make a difference, it has to come from within. And that's what we need to kind of build today. I think that's completely non-negotiable.
Wow, I think I agree here completely. You can't motivate someone who is not motivated from inside. I think training is important, using different tools to keep that motivation is important. But if you happen to have someone who's not self-motivated, you can't motivate such people. So make sure that when you hire people who are self-motivated. There are a lot of tools available in market to understand the motivation levels and different kind of motivation, how to assess which is higher. So either you know what motivates them, and then you can keep them motivated using the things which are in same line, or you hire someone who has really high desire of doing the task and achieving high in life. Those people work in all kind of atmospheres and perform well. So thank you.
Yes, add here on closing note, I think a lot of organizations today do things very anally, very logically, because like you rightly said, psychometric tools are around. You've got tools from some of the best names, a Gartner now, a CEB, SHL. They even measure your motivation quotient. But I think somewhere if you can try and understand them better through your intuition, I think one can't speak for the other. It has to be a combination of both. Yeah. If you can use your gut feel maybe as an entrepreneur or as an organization to actually figure out, hey, this is what the tool is saying, but is there incongruence when I'm talking to this person? So please spot that incongruence and make a decision based on your instinct also, which I think that magical marriage between logic and intuition, I think is what entrepreneurs need, and maybe every other individual needs today. So thanks for giving me an opportunity. I thought that was something I was very passionate about.
And it's quite valid also. I think when it comes to intuition, women are in fact wired more intuitively, and we work on like gut and intuition more. Like I always know at least a week in advance when my domestic help is about to on a lighter note, not to and she decides to quit. So though I said it on lighter note, I think we normally always get a sense of how our employees are behaving and what are the dynamics, where is the politics, is we always get a hang. We can keep our eyes closed, or we can use it to help them. Because while we are having our own challenge, always remember the other side also must be having some challenge in their lives which they are dealing with, and that's why they are behaving so. Sangeeta, have you ever come across any situation where you have realized, like we also talk about discipline in organization, and although I'm not very pro or in totally agreement of the fact that when people don't perform or when they are not doing their best in the organization, you can always use caution or self-discipline, and you even fire in the worst cases. Have you ever come across any such situation in your company?
Definitely. It happens in your journey, entrepreneurial journey, because you will come across many people, as she said clearly, that there are a lot of people, those who are not self-motivated. They do not have the attitude to do anything. So you have to take those hard decisions at time, that if the person, you give a due time, you give a complete training to a person, you explain all the process, you have given enough time to a person to perform, then it is you have to take a decision sometime. Although at times I have seen by changing just the department, a gentleman is not performing excellent in sales, but when I put him to the operations, he is phenomenally performing well. Whenever there's a gentleman who was looking after the deliveries, and he really used to feel sad about it, ma'am, मैं धूप में नहीं जा सकता every day, मेरे बस का नहीं है. And I found that he was too good with the calculations, and believe you me, I transferred him to finance department. He did so well, and I was extremely shocked, and I was said, this is I was so dumb that I was using such an intelligent brain into something which was like, I was underutilizing that person. So you will feel these problems during your entire lot of people will join, they will have certain skills, but they join for something else. Their attitude and aptitude, their aptitude is something different, but their attitude lies somewhere else. So you'll have to acknowledge that, you have to give them a time, you have to train them, but at times, yes, you have to take some hard decisions in life. You have to politely tell them that, you're not meant for this particular job, probably there's something better waiting for you, you might change. So I do that.
Very nice, very nice. I think I love the things you mentioned. I think I must mention that this is the first time that I am actually hearing that all those organization behavior books that we read are actually practically possible. What I am saying is, I think the moment you say that, we used to call something, that was a term, when you transfer an employee to a different department because you realize they are not meant for that role. What you call that? Job change, role change or something. And it used to exist in the OB books that we read. Yes. So, see, the point here is, as an entrepreneur and as someone who drives the company, you have to also realize that these people come with their own needs. So there can be chances, even when you recruited someone well and you have gone through the process perfectly, they are misfit into the role, or when they are actually there doing that job, they realize that it's not something that I want to do. Have a conversation or discuss it out, and if you can change their roles or their job responsibility, which will give them more comfort, or that will also help you keep them for a longer time, because then they'll feel that you care for their careers also.
I'll give a live example. I had a boy who was just doing a computer hardware repairing job. He used to work on the motherboard. He was just 10th pass, and I was really, I could see that this boy is very talented. I motivated him. I told him that, you are meant for something better. I think you are wasting your time and energy here. You should think something big. Why did you left your education? He wanted to further study. So I sponsored his education. I told him that, I will take care of you. Why don't you study further? And believe you me that he's working as a probation officer at some bank today. And not only he himself educated himself, he in fact elevated the level of his two younger brothers, those who decided to quit after 10th and started, they were planning to just join some job. As he got motivated, as he got enlightened, and as he learned something, and he got into a wonderful profession wherein he was paid more, it was a more respectable profession. So you should let people go. You should educate them, motivate them, and help them in growing up, rather than holding them and trying to be very selfish. He is expert on my subject and let it be. So we have to keep our eyes open. We should as a women, we are supposed to see bigger view rather than a smaller way, that currently he is helping me in my job, so I should be happy and satisfied. I have to find a new boy who will be handling my job, rather than we should think that the caliber of the person is much higher than what we are perceiving right now. So if you see something like this, I will say that you should definitely motivate people to do big in life.
Very nice. I mean, I think awesome, I must say. But one thing is there, Sangeeta, there are cases where, in fact, I must appreciate that gentleman also, that he was upfront and told you that this is what I really want to do, in life. There are cases where employees don't share. And this is my question to you, Rita. Like, people don't share what they really want to do in life. They have different motives. However, just to sustain themselves financially, they join your organizations. Now, that's what you can actually, someone like me may term it as cheating on yourself and cheating on the organization also, because that's never gonna, that sync of you doing your best in that job is never going to happen, because something else drives you. Maybe you want a better role, maybe you want to do a government job, or maybe you want to run your own business. You're just spending your time to build yourself financially, not learning, or say, getting trained at the cost of organization. How ethical that is, and how can one deal with such situations where people are not transparent?
So you said how ethical it is and how do we deal with it. Of course it's not ethical, but I'll come from a different perspective. For a lot of people, they are not even clear why are they coming for a particular job, or what do they want out of it. In the initial stage of the career, all that people look for is money, and money as a security, because security needs are important at that point of time. You need enough money to maintain your lifestyle or to upgrade your lifestyle. But as you grow, or as time passes, the other needs develop. The need of recognition, where now you're looking for position, now you're looking for growth. You also are looking for social acceptance, or you're looking for the kind of people you meet, or the kind of people you are associated with. So I think as an entrepreneur, I always advise that let's look at people. What are their needs? Their need is, one, they need to be feeling secure that I have enough. Two, they need variety. So the picnics, or the fun element, or the surprise element, or annual programs, that's the variety part of it. Like I was saying, variety, we have other requirements also from employees' point of view. That is a routineness or a system, because they need to know, what am I going to do tomorrow? What am I going to do day after tomorrow? So a schedule. And very important thing is their path to growth. So as an entrepreneur, if we can balance all these elements for our employees, that is going to keep them highly, highly motivated, along with creating a culture of and bonding emotionally with them.
Said Rita, I think we as employers need to understand their different level of needs, with which these people come to us, and if we are able to fulfill them somewhere and align to those, I think we can make a great team and keep them motivated as well. Thank you so much, all of you. We had great discussion, and it's amazing work you are doing. We really want to congratulate you, as well as say that we are really proud. And ladies, if you are watching this, I understand that we have challenges. We have challenges while recruiting, while motivating, and our own challenges from technical or non-technical aspects. However, understand that while I am dealing with a challenge, the other person is also dealing with a challenge. If you take that perspective always with you in family and in your business, you will go a long way, because people work with people. And as humans, we all have our own needs. Do appreciate your team and make a great culture. And while you do that, do not forget to appreciate yourself. Take care. Bye. Stay blessed. Keep watching us.